See you in hell, Kabuka.
Somewhere in Karakosh, in northern Iran ghost town, we see visuals of British soldiers going into a building, but before they can approach, there is a huge blast and the soldiers are held back by the shockwave. Now, the movie begins with a massacre in Gujarat in 2002. An elderly Hindu woman has given shelter to poor Muslims in her home. Her nephew, Boroj, arrives and shoots her dead, outraged at her crime. And then he, his brother, Mona, and their men brutally kill everyone who is hiding. Among them is a young Zayed Masood who will grow into the Zayed. He runs with his younger brother on his back. When he finally reaches safety and looks back at the destruction, he realizes to his horror that his brother has also died. He vows revenge against Boroj. In MI6 headquarters in London, Officer Boris Oliver is dealing with an operation involving his agency in Senegal. Indian movies make much of the so-called entry scenes, and Mohanlal is given a grand one. Preceding the scene, we see Kabuga cartel mercenaries working with a defector from the Khureshi Ab'raam syndicate and also a British Interpol officer, McCarthy. They are transferring illicit drugs. On their route, there is a squad of British soldiers, and they have placed roadblocks, but the cartel is aware of this, and they change their route to a dirt road. However, they did not count on the fact that there may be someone other than MI6 on their trail. Khureshi Ab'raam syndicate arrive in 3 helicopters and opens fire. Nearly everyone dies. Khureshi gets out of the helicopter. It's Mohanlal, clad all in black. He confronts the dirty Interpol officer known as McCarthy and the defector. Surprisingly, Khureshi shoots the McCarthy in the head. The defector is not welcomed with open arms. However, we later find him dead and stuffed in a bag inside a train in London. The fact that McCarthy was dirty was not common knowledge, and since he was killed by Khureshi, now every major intelligence agency in the Western world is out to get him. In a surprise, we learn that Boris Oliver and Khureshi are allies. In a hidden chamber of his house, Boris is told by Khureshi that he will solve the matter of the Kabuga cartel once and for all. Now, we come to the first scene involving the British soldiers trying to storm a building and are instead surprised by a huge explosion. So, what was happening in the scene? Khureshi invited the head of the Kabuga cartel for a meeting, to which the man agreed. But there was a catch. Kabuga said he would choose the place and time, and Khureshi agrees. He chose Karakosh, a ghost town in Iraq, and the two groups were meeting in the building before the blast. Kabuga cartel's leader was overconfident since it was his region. He did not anticipate another platoon of Khureshi's men, who landed on the ground like panthers. They make short work of the Kabuga men, and Khureshi summarily shoots the Kabuga dead. They escape via an underground passageway and presumably leave behind an explosive device that turns the edifice into rubble. And that is how Khureshi faked his death and escaped the clutches of Western intelligence agencies. Meanwhile, things in Kerala are grim. Remember the unholy alliance that Jatin Ramdas made that we talked about earlier. His new political party, IUFPKR, has allied with a rabid right-wing party of a certain someone called Baba Badranji. Badranji is the new identity of Boroj, the man who killed so many poor Muslims earlier in the movie. Jatin and Priyadashani have clashed over their father's legacy. Jatin, who is the chief minister, does not even seem interested in carrying it forward. He just wants power. So after he makes his own party, Priyadashani becomes the face of the original. During a much publicized speech, where Jatin threatened and warned her not to go, she refuses to be threatened and embarks on the campaign as scheduled. She is attacked by men armed with swords and Molotov cocktails. Some of the people in the audience encircle her to save her. They urge her to run deep into the forest bordering the arena. She does that, and her rescuers follow. One by one, the rescuers are killed until only one is left. As the attackers are preparing to kill Priyadashani, Khureshi and his men arrive and dispatch all the attackers. Funnily, Khureshi could just shoot them dead, but instead he takes his time and fights them hand to hand. Later, Priyadashani is arrested on trumped-up charges by the dispensation. She cleverly tells the police that they should handcuff her, as is suitable for such charges. They do that, and she proudly shows off the handcuff to the media, telling them how they are suppressing her voice. The woman learned politics fast, and rises to becoming the leader of IUF, her father's political party. Elsewhere, the convoy of Jatin, who is still the chief minister, is attacked by Khureshi and his men. After killing off their defenders, they take Jatin and Mona in custody. Jatin is taunted by a disappointed Khureshi, who, after all, made him the chief minister. Jatin is defiant. Khureshi sends a message to Baba Badranji that he knows who he really is. Boroj, and challenges him to come save his brother. Boroj is told that it's a trap, but he is angry and also afraid for his brother. The ending of L2, Empuraan is chaotic and thrilling. Baba Bajrangi arrives at the place with truckloads of armed men. He spots a bloody and beaten Mona standing in the middle of an open space. His lips are split from nearly everywhere, and then he explodes, and blood and bones splatter everywhere. A grief-ridden Baba Bajrangi gives a cry of rage and challenges Khureshi for a fight. Khureshi does arrive, and a brutal battle begins. Khureshi tells Zayed that he will not stand in the way of his vengeance. We earlier saw in a scene how Khureshi rescued Zayed from the clutches of jihadists in Pakistan who were trying to radicalize him and other young boys against India, and gave him a purpose. After a while, every single man of Baba Bajrangi is killed, and only the man himself is left. And finally, Zayed takes his revenge. He shoots Baba Bajrangi, and the man falls down in the swamp, dead. Prithviraj becomes the chief minister, and I believe Khureshi disappears once again, as he only visits Kerala if he wants to make things right. But before all that, he urges Jatin to become a party worker once again instead of the leader he wrongly thinks he is. We see a global crime syndicate of Chinese origin. They have been mentioned a couple of times before, but we see them in action only now. Khureshi receives a phone call from presumably the leader of the syndicate, and then he is shocked to be told about the execution of his mole in the MI6. Boris and also pains seeing one of his helicopters burst into flames, carrying Jatin. This is the first time in the movie that Khureshi looks rattled and absolutely stupefied. And with this cliffhanger, the movie ends. Now, we cannot wait for the third film. Indeed, the final scene of the movie also teased the sequel, which is titled L3, The Beginning. This is where the movie ends. Kindly subscribe to this channel, click the like and share buttons and smash the notification bell to support this channel. Thanks for watching.